Are we ready to start?
That's what I
Really?
said.
Really? Okay. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Klingberg Wing Mark II development. I'm Raul Klingberg, your host. And joining me today is my wonderful daughter, Amelia.
Hi.
And you've seen her many times at the intro to these videos. And she's getting a little older, isn't she? In fact, next year she goes off to college. So I thought that we'd do a year-end video, sit here, chat about one of the early models, and reminisce about this wonderful project that we've been on for several years. This project's actually been going on for a very long time. You've probably been following with for the past several years, and I've actually been working on this project since about 2008, 2009. And the early days of testing were with little balsa models, and I would fly them off our apartment balcony into the courtyard and test different configurations that way. It's very simple. And Amelia was probably about 6 years old at that time, and her job was to be down in the courtyard and pick up the models and bring them back up the stairs so I could test them again. Right? Was that fun? Do you remember that at all?
No, but
You don't remember it?
glad I don't.
Yeah, she's glad she doesn't. Earlier today she told me that was like child labor, slave labor. But I've tried to get her involved in the project as we go along the way, and so she can see how these things actually come into being, how it goes from we never had one of these before to we have them now, that somebody actually does the engineering and works on it and builds it and invents something new. It's a part of the human engineering process, and that these things don't just come out of nowhere, that somebody actually invents them, real people. And it's been fun sometimes along the way, hasn't it? Have you had some fun? A little bit? Sometimes?
Yeah.
Except for the parts where the glider takes over the whole house, like when it's in the hallway and the whole garage.
And my
the
physics
yard.
homework can't take up the whole house. No,
Yeah,
the glider
right.
can.
The homework, just push that into the background because this is far more important. This is real life. Anyway, so yeah, 2008, 2009. So been at this for about 12 years. But it was a good year to have some memories about this because this was a really big year. Because we flew for the first time this year. Not 100% successful. If you've seen that video, you know there's a little bit of a rough landing. Or as one of the patrons said, the suboptimal arrival, which I thought was a wonderful phrase. But we actually got one of these things to finally fly. And this type of glider has been talked about for a long, long time. Online community has talked about it for 15 years, maybe more, about when are we going to have a hang glider that has a 30-to-1 glide ratio, and how big does it have to be, and what's it going to look like, and why isn't somebody building it? And I don't think most of those people in those discussions realize how big of a task that is, and how much engineering be required, and really push the state-of-the-art forward. In fact, if you wanted, you could do some searching in the Soaring magazine archives and go all the way back to the 70s. There's a guy who wrote a couple of articles about what will hang gliders look like in the future when we get up to these really high performance 30-to-1 plus sailplanes that you could foot launch. And he had some fanciful drawings in those articles, but he came pretty close. The only thing that was missing were the high-end materials that we have now that make it possible to design and build that aircraft. And here we are 35 years later, and we've finally gotten there. And my experience in this area goes even further back. I go back to the mid-70s, and that's when I first started designing and building hang gliders. I started out with bamboo and plastic, which was crazier than all get out. If you're old, you remember those days and the insanity of those early hang gliders. But we've come a long ways, and it has been a big task. And a lot of that effort has been thanks to you folks and the support that you provided, both moral support and financial support, has really gotten me over some very big humps and finally achieved that goal. We've created a foot-launchable standard class sailplane, and that's a first. Nobody's ever had a 15-meter sailplane, standard class, that you can literally run and take off with. Never been done before. It's also the lightest weight standard class sailplane ever built by a wide margin. I think the next closest one is probably 250 pounds, and we're down around 110. So that's pretty amazing. So a lot of firsts have been achieved, but we have a ways to go yet. There's lots of test flying that has to be done and more refinements before we get into really usable aircraft. And that's pretty cool, and it's been an interesting journey to be on it, and I'm glad that you were able to join me for part of it. And we have exciting things to come in the new year. I'm working on drawings of the actual glider, full-size 3D models done in SolidWorks. And if you're a Patreon member, you already know about this because you're getting those packages. I'm sending out drawing packages monthly to my Patreon members. And this is the real deal. These are full-size, all detailed. You could literally build one of these off of those drawing packages by the time I get done. And we're going to cut away here, and we're going to go over and look at the latest model that I'm working on for the Patreon members, which is the pilot's cage and center section of the wing. Okay, welcome back. I'm glad you stuck around to see the latest model I'm sending out to all the patrons. This is the entire pilot's cage and center section of the wing. And as you see, I've dropped in the model from last month here, which is the control stick assembly, and it's now integrated with the pilot's cage, so we can see how it fits in with all the other components. Currently, let me zoom in a little bit on that. Currently, I have the motion locked out on the control stick, so you can't do any motion studies on it at this point. I have a few minor items to deal with in terms of the mates on how the components fit together so that we can keep the control stick in position yet allow those motion studies. But you will be able to zoom around and see how the control horns clear the pilot's cage and how it's mounted and on these little standoffs here. You will receive all of the models for every component that's in here. The vertical struts, the horizontals, the lift grip over here, the front strut, all of the brackets, bolts, nuts, washers, tangs, everything. The model is nearly complete, and I thought it was good enough that I'd go ahead and send it out now. The areas of work include the back end here. You see that I haven't included the tail boom that's currently on the vehicle up here, and there's cables that run from these tangs up to that tail boom to stabilize the pilot's cage. Currently, I'm in the process of redesigning this entire back end to eliminate the tail boom so that it's not in the way of the pilot's head during launch. I think it'll be a big improvement, but it is a significant structural change, and I thought, why build the model to match the current configuration if I'm only changing it anyway. And you'll also see that there is no tapered aft portion here. I'm not showing the wheel mounted or anything because that's also being changed. I'm modifying to prepare for the pilot enclosure. There's going to be a wrap around the entire cockpit of plexiglass and actually I should say polycarbonate and some vinyl and some Dacron to close in the pilot. And so the back end here is going to be shaped a little differently, and that'll come in a future rev. So I thought this was close enough, and then as we go forward, I'll loop back around and I'll distribute the model out to the revised model out to my patrons. And I hope that's okay with you guys. I really appreciate your support, so I thought I'd get something out to you this month. You will note that the vertical struts show the Kevlar overwraps here at the end, and these are tapered just like I did it in real life. What's not shown is the one layer of Kevlar that's in the middle here, and I didn't actually show that because I wanted to reveal the fact that inside is this carbon fiber tube that runs this whole length, and it's overwrapped with Kevlar for safety. And I think if you've seen the videos, you know that I've put on one layer of Kevlar over the whole tube and then did these tapered wraps on the end to do a tapered wall thickness to give them some extra resiliency and safety in case they break again. And we've seen it once, probably see it again. I'm still working on the nose piece here, this sweep around the front. I'm having a couple of issues with the sweep and the mates. Still working on that a little bit, so bear with me. And when I get that the revisions done, I'll send a whole new model out. You'll note that the center section of the wing is just a basic loft. It's all solid. I haven't worked any of the internal components. That'll be a future monthly delivery where you get this entire center section, and you'll see all the ribs. You'll see all the components on the inside. You'll see how these
brackets integrate with the structure. You'll see the leading edge tube that provides the carries the torsional loads from the main sections, and you'll see the fittings for attaching the wings. So that's a lot of work. That might cover 1 or 2 months worth of work for me. So look for that in a future issue. And when I do finish the center section like this, then I will reissue this entire assembly so that you can see it all put together, and you don't have to worry about putting it together yourself. And this model, if I have this set up right, can I move it? Yeah, I can move it. Normally when you go out and assemble, the pilot's cage is laying on its side, and this tube would be folded up flat like this down here, like that, and you would have the center section a little higher up. Now, as you'll see here, you see these moving. I haven't quite locked in the mates yet for these nose plates, but not to worry. We'll get that taken care of in the future. So normally the center section would be vertical like this, and this front strut is down, and it swings up like this and gets out of the way. You swing that out of the way, and then we bring this back forward like this, except those nose plates stay in place, and then this swings back and a ball lock pin drops in at the front here. Now I'm not showing the front cables. They run from these tangs up to this plate. I thought they were just confusion and didn't really add anything, so I'm not showing them here. If you've seen video of the glider, you know that they exist and why they're there. I will include the guide bracket. I'm just about finished with this. In a couple days I'll finish and send it out, but there's a guide bracket for the flap activation rope that comes down here and goes around this this cross tube here and back here to the flap handle. And I will show the guide, and I'll probably gem up a flap handle here. But what I'm lacking currently in the models is the cleat, the jam cleat for the rope. I found a couple of them online at like GrabCAD, and they look correct, but I'm unable to bring them into this model and maneuver them and attach them, mate them to the base tube. I will include that model for the jam cleat so you can see what they look like, but right now I'm having difficulties in getting it into this model such that it works. So that's where we stand right now. This has you can see I've applied the CAD color, the CAD plating color to the bolts, showing AN hardware. And the nuts are on there, the washers are on there, the tangs are in stainless steel. Everything that's carbon fiber is shown as carbon fiber. And I haven't done any rendering on the control stick, but obviously the materials, I think you're familiar from the model I distributed previously. It's a 4130 steel tube here, and this lower tube is aluminum. These standoff brackets here, I will be sending you models that show entirely how these brackets are built, and it's made out of carbon fiber sandwich panel construction pieces. It's built up out of 4 pieces of flat panel and then a round piece of tubing. It's glued together, and then it's lashed to the pilot's cage with unidirectional carbon fiber and structural adhesive. So there we go. We have the whole center section model here. Basically, I would say that we're probably at 95% fidelity here. And as I get corrections and updates, I'll send them out to you. No extra charge, of course. It's included as a part of your membership of being a patron. And I want to say thank you to everybody for all the support that they've provided. And we're going to continue doing these models every month. And if you're a YouTube listener and you'd like to get in on the game, go down to the description and click on the link over to Patreon and go sign up at the level that gets you access to these models. And when I'm done at the end, you will have every single 3D model that's required to understand how this aircraft was designed and built. And if you had a strong hankering, you could start buying materials and build your own. Of course, we have a little bit further to go on the flight testing, so if you start building now, you'd probably be a little bit at risk, but hey, there's some of us that like to do that. As a matter of fact, what's coming next month is the winglets. I'm working on lofting the winglets, and hopefully I'll get to the point where you have all of the internal structure so that you can see how they're actually built, and you'll have 3D models. So if you wanted to go out and build yourself a set of winglets, you could do it because you'll have all the data there. And I'm also contemplating producing some what are called short kits, where you would get, say, the ribs and most of the materials that you need to build the winglets. And I might issue those short kits if there's enough interest. So if you have an interest in purchasing short kits of the various sub-assemblies or various components of the aircraft as we go along, let me know. If there's enough interest, I'll continue pursuing finding vendors and estimating costs for producing those parts, and be able to get some information back to you about what it might cost to buy those short kits. So there we go. Fun and excitement as we go into the new year. Weather here has been horrible for flying. I haven't been able to continue the testing at this point, but I'm sitting ready to go back out and test some of the new components that I put into the aircraft and some of the final adjustments on the harnessing system. As soon as we get some decent winds, I'll get out and do that. I'll make a couple more hops at the sand dunes at the beach, and then I think we're going to slap some wheels back on it and take it off to the dry lake bed so we can do some towing and get more consistent testing done, get more testing done in a day, and move forward with the design and get things refined and locked down, and get ready for some high altitude test flights. So that'll all be very exciting. I hope you stick with me. If you're already a Patreon member, wow, my huge thanks. Another wonderful year with you guys, and we're going to move forward to new exciting things. And if you're not a Patreon member and you'd like to be really integrated in with this project and be a part of it, I invite you to come on over and sign up. Love to have you, and you'll get a set of these models every month.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed looking at that video of the drawing package that's going out to the Patreon members at the end of the month here. And I'm going to try to keep up the pace and do that monthly. And I suspect that I'll have all of the modeling and drawings done for the aircraft in about 12 months, maybe 10 months. I've been at it for 2-3 months, and maybe another 10 months, and I'll be done. It's an adventure and it's a journey, and we're all on it together. So at the end of the year here, I just wanted to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, right?
Happy holidays.
Happy Holidays. And if you don't mind, I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now, I know 2,000 subscribers is nothing on YouTube. That's a snip, a little tiny dot. But for this topic, it's a huge number. It's a big deal. And I'm only 12 people away from 2,000. So look down a little bit. You'll see that subscribe button. Just click on it. It doesn't cost you anything. And get me to that 2,000 number, and I'll do a video of my huge thanks that I finally got to 2,000 subscribers. That'd be cool in my book. And if you have a mind to, go on over to Patreon and sign up. Everybody gets one of these cool hats, a Klingberg wing hat, beautifully embroidered in red, white, and blue. And that comes with your Patreon membership. And if you sign up at the appropriate level, you'll get a copy monthly of all the drawings that I'm working on. And when I'm done, you'll have enough to build an aircraft, or you'll find models in there that of certain parts and so forth that might be good for your own designs that you're working on. Or you can just feel good about helping support the project, which I love, because I couldn't do this without you guys and your support. So please go on over to Patreon, take a look, and we wish the best for you and your family in the new year, and bye for now. Fly safe. Okay, now relax every muscle in your body. Just take a deep breath. See, look how I'm slouching over here. Be like me.
That's improper.
All right, I'll sit more upright.
Can't.
I'm going to use these as outtakes at the end. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is fun, huh?
Good boy, Charlie.
Good boy, Charlie. Charlie's with us today. Yeah, he appeared in a lot of videos as a cameo. Charlie's having a cameo here. Hi, buddy. How you doing? Yay, good cameo. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're making a video. You've been in many of these. Okay. Are we ready now?
Yeah.
Are we ready? Okay.
Oh, he tilted his head.
Yeah, so cute. And now he's hitting me with his paw. Yeah, I know. I see you there. Yeah, the outtakes at the end will be longer than the video itself. Yes, we know.
Okay.
Okay. Yay! We did it. See, wasn't hard. Charlie bailed.
Charlie